After nearly a century, hundreds of artifacts from Peru's ancient city of Machu Picchu are heading home. On Saturday, representatives of the Peruvian government and Yale University agreed to recognize Peru as the owner of the historical artifacts. Last year, Boyd Matson of National Geographic's Wild Chronicles covered the controversy, which has been brewing for years.
High in the Andes, Machu Picchu has become a major tourist destination, a source of income and national pride for Peru. But while the architectural ruins are almost intact, much of its treasures lie far from here. In the early part of the 20th century, the artifacts were taken to Yale University by professor and National Geographic grantee Hiram Bingham. Now, Peru wants them back.
The first basic concept is all the pieces belong to the Republic of Peru and to its people. There's absolutely no doubt about that.
These Peruvian treasures, on loan to the National Museum of Women in the Arts in Washington, D.C., hint at what lies in Yale's vaults and galleries. Peru maintains the university has been holding on to 5,000 artifacts for almost a century. Goods, the government says, were given to Bingham as a loan. National Geographic, which funded Bingham's excavations of Machu Picchu in 1912 and 1914, agrees. In its archives, correspondence from the explorer clearly indicates the items were to be returned. Officials here believe that despite the passage of time, the Peruvian claim is still valid.
There was no doubt in our mind here at National Geographic that the artifacts that had been removed from Machu Picchu by Hiram Bingham were on loan from the Peruvian government. Those objects belong to Peru, the people of Peru, and that they should be returned.
Peru is not alone in wanting its treasures back. Recently, Egypt received the repatriated mummy of Ramesses I from a museum in Atlanta. Countries once seemingly powerless to stop the plunder of their antiquities from foreign explorers are now using newfound political muscle to press for the return of priceless works of art. And they're appealing to a sense of international justice.
It's the understanding of the modern world of this century that we must recognize the property of people, of their heritage, of their culture, their history, their objects. And in this case, Machu Picchu is a symbol. It's very important for Peruvians.
The Peruvian case is unique in that it's documented by letters and legal agreements. But other antiquities were looted or purchased centuries ago. Their legal pedigree may be murky, documentation non-existent. In some cases, museums that have carefully protected art objects for many years feel entitled to keep them. For National Geographic, which funds many archaeological expeditions, the recent disputes underscore the need for sovereign nations to maintain ownership of their own artifacts.
You cannot go into a country without first getting that country's permission. If you're an archaeologist, to conduct your work, if you intend to excavate a site, you need the country's permission. And certainly, to remove objects and take them out of the country requires the express approval.
Some argue that great civilizations are part of our collective past, that important antiquities should belong to all of mankind and need to be placed where they can be best preserved. But for countries like Peru, there's no place like home. Getting Machu Picchu's artifacts back after nearly a century in a foreign land could boost its tourism industry and be a source of pride to finally be the guardian of its own history.